Hey guys, this is post-recording Spycrab, and I want to go ahead and say before we begin this video, I really hope you enjoyed this video because it's going to be how my content kind of is from now on. Like, I'm going to be reviewing games rather than just like playing them with friends and stuff. I probably will still have friends in the video, but that I would stay true to my name and actually like review games. So that's pretty well all I want to say, and yeah, let's get right into the video. So Valve, you know them, you love them, they're responsible for some of video game classics. Like, for real, I don't know if I'd even be in gaming without Half-Life 1. And not to mention Half-Life 2, an even better version of Half-Life 1, but it had, like, you know, more weapons, more story, and most importantly, one of the awesomest villains in all of video game history. I know awesomest isn't a word, but sometimes you need to make up words to describe something that good. And let's talk about someone a little different. ID Software, another instant classic. Doom is one of my favorite video games, alongside Wolfenstein and especially Quake. Now, I will cover Quake in a separate video, but today I'm going to be covering Deathmatch Classic. Now, what is Deathmatch Classic? Well, that's simple. Deathmatch Classic is a tribute to ID Software and their legendary franchise. But with Half-Life characters and some of the environments are different. They're a lot smaller, and it can rely on fast-paced action sometimes. Like, look at how the game moves. It's incredibly fast. You have to kill enemies left and right. Now, let's talk about the game's playability before we get into the actual weapons and gameplay, or more of it anyway. The game doesn't have much playing value at this point in time. The game was developed in 2001, in the golden age of Valve, as I like to call it. Which means that not a lot of people still play it. Valve has made a lot of games in that time, and some of them still get a lot of players. But this is just crazy. Friggin' Ricochet gets more players than this. And that just angers me. Ricochet. Really? I think they could have done a little better than that. But, you know, I guess I have to give credit where credit's due. This game is pretty good, and most servers have bots on them. But don't just expect to make a server and then bots automatically spawn. Nope, you gotta have fancy programs and all that. Most servers do have bots. Like, for this footage, I had to play with bots. And bots can keep it interesting, but the gameplay is so repetitive in the first place, and there's no learning curve or anything where it just doesn't have much playable value. Now, let's talk about the actual pros of this game. It is fun when you're just starting out on it, and the maps are pretty cool. You can even play at Black Mesa. Also, I believe that this game is where the original from Team Fortress 2 is. Well, you know, where it's first spotted and how it got into Team Fortress 2. I think it was because of this game. You can even rocket jump a little in this, but I wouldn't expect much, just because, you know, it takes more health in this, because rocket jumping isn't a recognized technique by Valve at this point. Now, let's talk about why this game doesn't get a lot of players. Well, it's simple, because Valve has made so many other online games like Team Fortress 2, Counter-Strike as a whole series, and most importantly, Day of Defeat, Team Fortress Classic, or, you know, etc., etc. The older titles even get a lot more players, but not this one, because there's really nothing notable about it. Which is kind of weird, because neither does Quake, and I really think Quake deserves it, and so does this. But this is a mod, or in this case I would call it a tribute, because Valve knew what they were doing. They call it a tribute, so I'll call it a tribute. So, let's wrap this video up with a quick points. Is Deathmatch good? Yeah. Is it worth playing? Of course. Does the community need to bring it back? Yes. It does deserve that. It's the least we could do for Valve. I mean, maybe if we stopped playing TF2, boycott it as a sort, we could save it. But I'm pretty sure everyone's a little too ignorant to figure that out at this point. They just need something to rant about. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up with my final thoughts. Deathmatch is a good game, with good weapons, like machine guns, rocket launchers, shotguns, but at the end of the day, there just isn't that much to go back to it for, and it's really only a nostalgia factor. If you want to play a game similar to this, play Quake. If you want to play a game not very similar, but still made by Valve, go play Half-Life 1. And would I recommend buying this game? Of course not. If you want to play it, I would honestly recommend just buying the Valve Complete Pack like I did. It's got like all the Counter-Strike games, and it's got all the Half-Life games except for Alex and Hunt Down the Freeman. We don't talk about that game. Now, that's all I wanted to review in today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.